Hi there, Coastal Bend meteorologist Carly Smith here. This is your 3 News Weather Impact Update live. No surprise, it's still hot and humid. We've got decent viewing coming up for the peak of the Perseid meteor shower. Who's excited about that? Let me know in the comments. And additionally, we've got a chance of tropical development once again possible in the Caribbean. That's going to be next week. So here's a look at our high pressure. This is the reason we're so hot, everyone. Yes, it's going to continue today. We've got a heat advisory in place on your Friday. So we're going to break this down coming up in this live update. Hey there, meteorologist Carly Smith joining you live. So glad to be back on here. We're going to talk about the weekend, all those headlines we just noted, but additionally, fabulous beach conditions out there. If anyone has any photos of the beach, post them, because it's just been looking so gorgeous, very much like the Caribbean, which the actual Caribbean does have a chance for a tropical storm, it looks like, possible as we head into next week. The next name on that list is going to be Ernesto. So that's something to keep an eye on, but we're not worrying about it here in Texas, and I'll explain why coming up. So here's once again where we left off, the upper wind and pressure. So high pressure is the reason we're so hot. You see this little circle though. So there's actually a weak front that's stalling out over the Gulf of Mexico, and this front may cause a little bit of a disturbance into the Gulf of Mexico. And when I say disturbance, this is what I mean. It's an inverted trough. So you see the winds going up like this, and they're moving from the east to the west. So that's a little backwards from what we're used to. We're used to these big low pressure systems that are moving from the west to the east. This is an inverted trough. That is essentially what a tropical wave is. Not anticipating much out of this, but it may boost our humidity a little bit next week, keep our temperature slightly cooler with a little bit more cloud coverage, and give us a slightly better opportunity for rain. We may see those early morning showers, especially near the coastline, especially as we head into Tuesday morning. So for CCISD heading back to school, we may have some spotty shower activity near the coast early next week, and then that activity could drift inland with a bit more sea breeze action than we've seen lately. But that inverted trough will be passing into Mexico on Tuesday, then we'll see less action from it on Wednesday. High pressure builds into the second half of next week. Oh, let's go back though. What you see on the right hand side of your screen, so San Juan's Puerto Rico, right? The Bermuda high is weakening, and as that happens, that's going to give a chance for our next tropical system to take a turn to the north, because it's going to break apart that high pressure ridge. So yes, some of the model data does have this getting a little too close for comfort into the eastern Gulf of Mexico, Florida per se, but overall a lot of the modeling takes it north. And watch, the Bermuda high is going to build back in just a little bit further into the Atlantic, and as that happens, that will likely pull the system in addition to that trough. So there's the trough breaking up the high pressure systems. This trough will act as a magnet, pulling that next tropical system to the north and likely allowing it to develop possibly even into a hurricane. Right now, modeling only getting as strong as a tropical storm with some of the outliers reaching hurricane. But yeah, the next tropical storm system likely to stay in the Atlantic, but it could develop as it is in the Caribbean. So that is what we are keeping an eye on. But overall for Texas, we're just looking like we're going to stay nice and hot. So here's our high temperatures and our heat index values as we look ahead to next week. Pretty much a mundane, boring forecast. We're talking high around 96, which is our average high. Our average high peaks between August 5th and August 15th. We get up to 96 degrees, so that is typical for this time of year. Heat index values around 110, so we may continue to see more heat advisories. This is the view outside. It's a gorgeous view. We're mostly sunny. Sunglasses needed today, but also water. 98 degrees your air temperature, 112 the heat index in Corpus Christi. That is going to be a rough one this afternoon. So there is a heat advisory in place. So if you do have to work in these conditions, please have a way to take breaks, shelter in the AC preferred, but at least in the shade, and water. Water's so key in this heat before, during, and after your activity, whether that is working outside or sports, after school practice, when we see some of the worst heat here in the Coastal Bend, peak heating hours 2 to 4 p.m. So That's going to be on the extreme side. 1 to 6 is when that heat advisory is in place. So try to avoid the most strenuous activity during the time of 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. Try to do it before or after. So before 1 p.m. or after 6 p.m. On Futurecast, there's a spotty shower that is going to be possible. Yeah, we could see a few sea breeze showers, not anticipating much. 98 degrees this afternoon. Areas inland could reach 100. This particular model not indicating that, but I think we will make it. Still 92 degrees at 7 p.m. as the sun is setting, so it's still going to feel hot. If you're headed to the Hooks game, that's first pitch, so keep that in mind. 78 degrees heading into Saturday morning, and we do see a chance for a few little sea breeze showers Saturday afternoon, so you will want to keep an eye on that if you do have outdoor plans. If thunder roars, head indoors, but overall still mostly just hot. A little bit more cloud coverage it looks like on Saturday. Something to keep in mind, okay, the Perseid meteor shower. So with our mostly clear skies, however, we do tend to see some cloud coverage at night, which is unfortunate for the Perseids, or Perseid. But yes, our rate, 20 to 40 an hour. The best time is pre-dawn. The further away you get from city lights, the more you're going to see. They come from the parent comet, the Swift-Tuttle comet that passed in the 90s. And for the best viewing, of course, you do want to get away from city lights. You want to look northeast toward the constellation Cassiopeia, or the constellation that bears its name, that's going to be toward Perseus. So it's the first quarter moon on August 12th, so we are going to see about 50% of that moonlight, or the sunlight reflecting off the moon. But good news is the moon sets at 11:37 p.m. So as the moon sets, we'll have pretty much darkness across our skies. And so the best views do come pre-dawn, so anywhere between midnight and dawn, and you're going to want to look again to the northeast. When it comes to our clouds, it looks like we'll clear the cloud coverage out by 4 a.m. This is particular for Saturday. So the 10th, 11th, and 12th is when this peaks. So Saturday night into Sunday morning, this is your forecast that we are looking at, and so yeah, it's looking pretty good. We should get some breaks in the clouds. Some low-level fog does try to develop more so inland every night, especially south of Alice, but along the coast we tend to have a few clouds early on in the night, and then they clear out, and then they build again as the sun comes back up. So yeah, should be a good show. I'm looking forward to it. Also looking forward to a great beach day. So 92 degrees, your temperature over the weekend. Water temperature, just about the same, right around 90. Our tides are running fairly low. We're in that in-between moon phase, with it being the first quarter, so not seeing a big change in our tide throughout the weekend. Wind will be out of the east-southeast, 7 to 17 miles per hour, up to 18 with gusts 22 on Sunday, and of course we've got an extreme UV index. The rip current risk is low. We'll likely have some green or yellow flags out there with our light wind and fairly flat waves, but remember, even with a low rip current risk, there is still a rip current risk out there, especially near our piers and jetties, so always use the buddy system, and remember to try to swim parallel to the beach, but we also have longshore currents that can make it difficult to swim in as well, so just relax, kind of get an idea of where you're struggling to swim, and then swim the opposite way, essentially. But the good news is that risk is going to be pretty low this weekend. Overall, fabulous beach weekend. The water clarity has been so wonderful out there, so hopefully you get time to enjoy it before the kids head back to school if you're in CCISD. So when it comes to our waves, here's the action. You see Debbie, that's the yellow up there by New York. That's still kicking up some waves along the East Coast. Our beaches, the Gulf of Mexico, you see green. That's flat conditions. And so we're going to continue to see that mostly into Sunday. But look, Monday into Tuesday, that's when that inverted trough is passing through. So we may get around 2, possibly 3 foot waves if we're lucky. There on Tuesday, the period though is only looking about 4 or 5 seconds. So not really expecting a tropical system, but now that I zoomed out, what we're looking at is the bigger picture. You see that yellow and red showing up just north of Puerto Rico? That is going to be the next potential tropical system. The next name on the list is Ernesto. Right here is where it has a pretty good shot of developing, especially if it's north or south of those Caribbean islands. So if it's north, odds are that system will turn north and stay in the Atlantic. That's really what we want to see, but it will have a greater chance of being stronger. If it's trekking right over those Caribbean islands, especially the larger ones, once we get to Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, and then Cuba, that's going to keep it on the weaker side, and that could allow it to make it closer to the Gulf of Mexico. And then further south, it could still strengthen and then possibly turn north as well. But the more it interacts with the islands, the weaker it would be, and I think the better shot it would have it making its way to the Gulf of Mexico. But as of this point on Friday morning, all data is really indicating this turns north and stays in the Atlantic, but it's not 100%. So the majority of the models, which you can check it out, KIIITV.com, go to Hurricane Central. We have an updated hurricane webpage that does have our thoughts on the forecast. You can see some of that modeling that I'm talking about on that page. It's great. It's fabulous. So good morning, Alfredo, Hector. Thank you. You are awesome. And good morning, Lorenzo Garza as well. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. So we've got 87 people watching right now, so I'm thankful for all 87 of you. What we are going to see, though, this is indicating that a system is likely there in the Caribbean, but you do see it moving north with this modeling data. Now, the eastern U.S. should be on alert. Florida should be on alert. The Caribbean should be on alert. At this point in time, Texas not on alert. We're just watching from afar and thankful that we hopefully won't have to be worrying about any tropical activity. But remember, forecast very poor. Past 7 days, extremely poor. At 7 days, still pretty poor. Modeling really doesn't get very well until 3 days out, but of course it's best 24 hours out, which doesn't give you that much time to prepare, so we want to give you as much time as much notice as possible. But within 7 days, it will be interacting there with the Caribbean islands, and there is a 60% chance of developing. So developing just means tropical depression, possibly a tropical storm, and that name, again, the next name on the list would be Hector. In your 7-day forecast, 20% chance of rain is what I have on Tuesday. There's a slim chance Monday, Wednesday, really any day. A rogue sea breeze shower is possible, but Tuesdays when we have a little bit more of a boost of moisture from that weak inverted low. Heat index value is still 110 to 115. It's going to be hot for all the kids heading back to CCISD schools next Monday, so make sure they're hydrated. Prepare them for those after-school activities. I know a lot of sports have already started, but just make sure they're prepared. Even the younger kids starting to get back into some of those soccer leagues and baseball leagues and all of that. Water is going to be key. So that's all I have for you. I'm meteorologist Carly Smith. Thank you so much for watching this live update. Share it on your social media pages. I appreciate it. And for now, I'm signing off for